working as a consultant with the team. My speciality is using a headset, which is a tool that a lot of people have probably seen as a gaming tool to create to play games or have experiences. But in the case of what I use it for is using the controllers and the headset to paint and design artwork. I was introduced to Jane, and we worked on starting to look into using digital technologies to create content for productions in any way. Jane, has got this wealth of knowledge within the creative space, and that is transferable into the digital space.
I do prop making, I do costume making, I do set painting, and it's just been very nice as a project, spreading yourself out to doing things you've never done before. For me, the beginning of the High 3 experience, although it was interesting, it didn't feel very useful to me. But once Sean was introduced, that was like opened up a whole new world of what you could do. So Margaret asked me to come in, and I sat in with meetings with Margaret and Rosanna while they talked about the story, picked up what I thought would be the key sort of images that would work in the storyboard, and also use the style of my storyboards in this world.
Across many lives and many lands, we join our voices, join our hands in this fairground of life full of ups and downs. We are all queens and kings in our own gleaming crown.
So I first got involved with the Sun Shall Rise that you heard a bit of upstairs, which was, so I was commissioned by Margaret and with Barefoot Opera, who I work a lot with, local opera company, to do a community theatre piece, a street theatre piece for the Jubilee. The idea is that the musicians are right in the middle, and then the soloists each have their group of the choir, and they promenade in from different bits. So everyone's sort of singing little cells, so that when we all come together on that, dance, 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 everyone's there in the middle, and we're ready to go and get the crowd going with us. That's the plan. I'm used to recording my own stuff, using a combination of recording live instruments like what we did upstairs, and then adding things from sound libraries, and I do quite a lot of that. So that I was kind of like, okay, I can do that, that's cool. And then Margaret said, oh, and we want some binaural sound added, and I was like, okay, well, I don't know about that, but but I'm keen to find out. So for me, the technology experiment was about doing stuff so that it comes from behind you, in front of you. You're very much on a 3D, so it'll come from over there, the sound will come from back there, and on headphones, so you just are submerged in a world.
For one of our scenes in the proof of concept, we decided to use Unreal Engine. You've heard that referred to a few times, so people have been talking about, can we make things more realistic? And I'll leave for now whether that's desirable or not, but in fact these trees here are from Unreal Engine. So Unreal Engine has been for a long time one of the major games engines, but with increasing more powerful computers with faster graphics cards, or GPUs, graphics processing units as they're called, it's possible to do real-time, realistic-looking environments. And so combining that with LED walls that we mentioned, or we used green screen, which isn't not really doesn't get you quite as far, alas, but that's what we had available at the time, and camera tracking. So when you move the camera, the backdrop that your set in Unreal Engine can move to match where the camera's moving, which is obviously important to get the realism. So quite a lot of major productions are now using virtual production. We've seen it a lot in Mandalorian and recently in his Dark Materials. I guess maybe my sort of finishing point would be that while all the focus here, maybe because of the game's background and stuff, has been on hyper-realism, sort of, the everything looking amazing and shiny and perfect, I think there's maybe more interesting things to do with less.
Real.
Yes, less unreal, less real. Thank you. Yes, so that we don't just create a very realistic looking forest. We've got that. What about our imagination of what is the experience of a fair or being lost in a forest, rather than just trying to recreate a forest.
Yes, you want that emotional feeling. Yeah.
So when Rosanna did the story, I was like, oh, cool, okay. So then we could communicate this sort of coming of age thing, this breaking of boundaries and learning about yourself, learning about others. And I think that should drive the aesthetic potentially, rather than the technology driving the aesthetic. And then we did 3D modelling of someone's face, which I was really interested in, because I like the idea of masks and people changing form and people embodying each other, and Rose taking it that next step. But it'd be cool if we could get things mixing live with that, or in a whole 3D body way. And apart from expense and stuff, I love low scale things. This is elaborate green screen. What's not cool about it is that actors have to sort of react to something that's behind them. They're looking at camera. There's always that sort of distance of life, which maybe is hard or easy for some actors. But what's cool is you can be anywhere, probably on Earth. Like this is possible. I think this is a real part of a real desert, which is kind of cool if you've got no money. But then maybe you shouldn't be making that story, and someone who lives there should be making that story. This next scene is quite interesting, because that is a street from Tokyo. They put a light on the side flashing, but I thought they looked. It could be Rose in the future.
I'm interested in the structure of the story, which can apply to Rose in whatever period we find her. I am particularly drawn to the final version of Rose that we see in this epic story, which is the refugee version, her coming back to this country, and how our empathy for that Rose could be developed to such a point that we empathise with the refugee rather than seeing her as the other, which we're encouraged to do today. Finally, to think about how introducing such sort of access for visually impaired people might also help to make it more accessible to other people, given the sort of devices that we might be interacting with it on or through.
It's obviously left the launch pad as we had it and ended up on another place, but what's your feeling about it?
I feel it's exploded.
And it's wow. I mean, you keep saying all the creatives. I mean, beyond creatives, this is amazing. This has been wonderful to be here, part of hearing all these possibilities.
Yes, it's gone somewhere else. It's gone way beyond the original street community concept into some other place.
Great, well thank you, that's very good. Did you get that down?